Hi, I'm Amber Royer, author of the Bean to Bar Mysteries, and today I'm going to be reading to you from my latest release, A Chocolate is Announced. This piece takes place early on in the book in the first couple of chapters. The setting is a murder mystery weekend in the hotel that my main character's aunt has been flipping, and everything seems to be going well. But of course, knowing Felicity being a mega murder magnet, something has to go wrong. Right now, they are all getting their character assignments for the weekend, and some of these are recurring characters. So it's a lot of fun to get to paint different sides of their personalities as they all try out acting. Ash passes out the packets for everyone's characters. I don't get one. Everyone else does, including Aunt Naomi and Uncle Greg. Once we're dismissed from the table, Logan shows me his character sheet. He asks, "What am I supposed to do with this?" I say, "You pretend to be whoever is on the page during the scheduled mystery solving sessions. You can be yourself the rest of the time." Logan gives a dismissive wave. "I know that. I mean, what am I supposed to do with this character? I'll feel stupid." Ash has given him Paisley Vane, an arrogant aristocrat with a heart full of greed, which is so not Logan. Ash probably thinks this is hilarious, considering Logan is a tough guy, ex-bodyguard, ex-cop with a tortured, tragic past. Logan doesn't look amused, but I convince him to be a good sport. After all, this event is in his honor. It's a testament to his personal growth over the course of the time I've known him that he can at least attempt to be silly. In character now, Ash gathers us into the lobby. Several people sit on the sofa in front of the fireplace. Imogen lets out a startled oof. She reaches underneath herself and pulls out the sheath knife she sat on. She places it on the coffee table, saying, "Oh my, who could have left that here?" She looks conspiratorially at Ash, but he looks a bit confused. It must be a prop knife, and maybe there had been some miscommunication on where it had been left. Or maybe the game's killer or victim was already supposed to have it. But that sheathed blade, easily a foot long, looks so ominous sitting on the table. It looks so real, like we've genuinely invited violence into the room. Ash puts on a fedora and gestures to Imogen, who is fastening a glittery peacock fascinator to her hair. Ash says, "Miss, I want to be somebody, and I are grateful to all of you for coming tonight as we celebrate our good friend Paisley Vane and his new chocolate bars, along with his engagement to the enigmatic chocolate maker Now You See Me." I realize he's looking at me, but I don't have a character sheet. Does that mean I'm the victim? Or maybe that I disappear to be myself as host, or to check on the chocolate shop? Tracy and Miles, my two most responsible employees, are running it, along with a couple of new folks I've hired since both Tracy and Miles have college classes to work around. And tomorrow we'll be heading there for a tour, but right now I have no idea what to say. An embarrassed heat comes into my face. Logan saves me. He sniffs dramatically and says, "Thank you, Ivan." I stifle a giggle when I realize Ash has named his own character Ivan Be Somebody. Somehow that suits him. Logan takes my hand and says, "Focus, Miss Nalu. The evening is about me. I mean, us. Don't go looking at our host with eyes meant for me." Man, Logan's a better actor than I gave him credit for. I'm getting to see lots of new sides of him this weekend. I giggle louder and try to improvise. "You know, I only have eyes for you." Logan says, "Now tell everyone how great I am." His lip is quirked to one side, a sign he's joking, but there's challenge in his eyes for me to play along. I say, "Paisley's great, y'all. If you ever need a shoe repaired or a five-course dinner cooked or a greenhouse built, don't know just who to call to get the work ordered." Logan bites back a laugh. In real life, he's generally a good cook and a decent carpenter. No idea if he's a good cobbler or not, though. Ash says, "That's all true. Paisley even still has his first Rolodex from 1993 to prove it. But Paisley is genuinely an excellent chocolate maker, so don't be afraid to try the samples you'll receive throughout the weekend." Irene waves her hand, and when Ash acknowledges her, she says, "What's a Rolodex?" I know Rolodexes are antique now, but has she seriously never watched an old enough movie or TV show to have seen a reference to one? I've seen plenty, and I'm not that much older than she is. I glance across the group to Aunt Naomi, who mouths back at me, "I had one." I guess I just assumed that Irene, as a Clue fan, would have a bit more 80s nostalgia in her wheelhouse. But maybe, is she talking as herself or in character? Ash says, "As the youngest one here, at only 16 years old, I guess we have to cut you some slack, Miss Pickett." Okay, it makes sense since her character is a kid. "But since you are Paisley's ward and heir, maybe you should stop Maybe you should get him to explain it later, since it may be part of your inheritance. Unless, of course, Miss Nala swoops in and snaps it up first. I arch an eyebrow at Ash. Am I supposed to be the victim in this scenario? It would have been nicer than to give me a heads up. Logan turns toward Irene. Now Nose. It's Nose, Irene says. Nose Pickett. You of all people should know that. Ash splutters, trying to hide his reaction that Irene has turned his juvenile name joke back on him. Nose Pickett indeed. Imogen is over in the corner looking pleased. She didn't write the script for this after all. Say Nose, Logan's sister says. It's Nose. Irene chose the bit, and now she's going to have to commit to it. Okay, Nose, Dawn repeats. When you're rich, you won't leave your poor old violin teacher, Miss Stradivarius, living in a shack in the mountains with her husband and 20 poodles, will you? She smiles a big cheesy smile at Irene and then gives a challenging look at Ash, very much like the look her brother had given me. I glance at Ash. He obviously gave Dawn and Fisher the characters with a weird, complicated backstory on purpose, probably after she tried to steamroll him into letting her be the killer. That doesn't mean they told her no, since embarrassing her and then giving her what she wants would be a very Ash thing to do. It doesn't mean he told her yes either. Colin stands up. In his thick, cockneyed accent, he says, I object. Nose is an absolutely charming woman. He turns to Irene. How would you like to go on a date with old Cecil Flirty? Get away from all the riffraff? Really see the island? Logan says, No, I object. As her guardian, I demand you leave her alone. Fine. Well, anyway, top of the morning to you all. Colin looks around as though expecting someone to continue the skit. Logan whispers, He's been saying that to everyone all night. I'm beginning to wonder if something is wrong with him, or maybe he doesn't really speak English. That doesn't make sense. How could a man with that thick of a British accent not speak English? The lights flicker, which I assume is Chloe's doing, since she's here somewhere setting up the effects. I'm surprised she wasn't at dinner, but she's probably trying to keep the illusion intact that there's nobody else at the hotel. I'm sure Carmen made sure she got fed. But then the lights go out, and I feel a shiver of fear. I've worked myself up, convinced that the victim and all the bad things that will happen in the dark, that knife showing up so unexpectedly, will somehow come back into play. There's a scream and confusing sounds of movement, but when the lights come back on, there's Chloe lying in the middle of the floor. I move towards her, my heart thudding. Is this still the game? Or something really happened to her? She's still a minor. Her mother would never forgive me if I set all this up and then something happened to her, a la a murder is announced. But then Chloe sneezes, repeatedly. She stage whispers, Sorry, but somebody needs to dust under this credenza. Strangely, Chloe doesn't have the knife. Shouldn't she? If that's how she was supposedly killed? Logan notices me looking over at the table. He moves over and picks up the knife. He asks me, Think I should lock this away for safekeeping? I nod. We can figure out how it got here later. Chloe sneezes again, bringing the attention back to her. Imogen says, I think I detect a voice from the great beyond. What are your sneezes trying to tell us, Clementine Vanderklump? Do you know who murdered you? No, Chloe stage whispers on the floor, deciding to just go with it. But I read the character sheets, and I strongly suspect my secret brother Paisley or my boyfriend, Walt Wishman.